Good morning, students. Today we will discuss on the next topic, that is tissue manifestation and organ specific and tissue specific manifestation. Manifestation means that is the how the disease they affect the tissues and different organs. Okay, how the pathogens they get the entry and how they affect the different tissues and organs. Specific here. Pathogens. What is the size of the pathogen? Pathogens are very small. These are most of them are unicellular, as we have discussed, like protozoa, bacteria, and virus. They are unicellular. Whereas fungi, which causes, they are multicellular, and the worms, which causes diseases, they are also multicellular. So these unicellular organisms, they are very small in size as compared to the body of the animal body, or you can say our body or any other animal body. Okay, so the microbes are very small as compared to the other living organisms where they are causing the infection. So here already we have discussed different ways how they enter. Now after entering, there is a specific tissue or specific organ where they harbor or where they grow, where they cause the infection, and then they grow there and they cause the diseases. And according to that, you can see the different types of symptoms. So one by one we will discuss all these things. So first, if we take the pathogens which enter through air, okay, first which enter through air, the pathogens which enter, where they will go? They will go through nose, then they will go to the lungs, okay, and in the lungs, then they will cause the infection. Common cold, that is caused by virus, it causes the mucus secretion inside the nasal cavity and in the throat. Like tuberculosis is caused by bacteria. So this tuberculosis which is caused by bacteria, where they go? In the lungs. This tuberculosis bacteria, they harbor in the lungs. Through nose they are getting, through the air, and then they get into the lungs. There they start dividing and growing, and they produce the substances which later on causes infection in the lungs. Okay, too much cough, then in tuberculosis what you find? Blood along with the mucus, blood is also in the cough along with the blood. Okay, mucus along with the blood. It is cough. When the person coughs, then along with that mucus, there is blood also. Okay, so like that the person becomes weak, gradually his weight reduces, he doesn't have the energy to work. Okay, tuberculosis is a very severe disease. And it is a chronic disease, long time it remains. So here it enters through the air, gets it through the nose and goes to the lungs. And in the lungs then they divide and increase in number. Other sometimes through water which enter, through water or through mouth when they enter, through pathogens which enter through mouth, through contaminated food and water. Okay, when you are consuming contaminated food and water, it is having the pathogens. So when you consume it, the water, or when you consume this food, then these pathogens enter through your mouth, and then where it goes? It goes to stomach. And what they do? They remain in the stomach, or they may remain in the gut lining, you can say. Gut lining. Now, in the gut lining, they harbor. In the lining of the gut, that is our intestine, it harbors. And gut, that is our digestive system. Okay, this intestine, small intestine and large intestine. Okay, so the lining of the intestine or the lining of the stomach, there they remain, and then they start dividing. And what are the diseases or what are the pathogens which enter? Which pathogens? Which is causing typhoid, which is causing diarrhea. Okay, dysentery, cholera. Okay, so they affect the gut lining. They enter through the mouth and they affect the intestine. Now, they enter through some other way, but they go to some other places like malarial parasite. Malarial parasite like Plasmodium. What is Plasmodium? Is a protozoa. Plasmodium is a protozoa. How it enters? Through mosquito bite. It enters through mosquito bite. Then where it goes? Through the blood, it goes to liver. Through blood, it goes to liver. When the mosquito bites with the saliva, when they try to suck the blood, then they also release the pathogens into our system. So these pathogens are carried by the blood to the liver. And in the liver then they mature. In the liver they will mature, and then after maturation the liver cells they will release. They will release the parasite into the red blood cell, RBCs. RBC of blood. Now see, they are entering through the mosquito. They are entering with the bite. Okay, from our skin. Through the skin it is entering into the bloodstream, then it is entering, it is going to the liver, it is carried to the liver, and there then they mature, and then these liver cells they will burst and release the pathogens, mature pathogens into the RBCs. Now in the RBC it is present. Now again when the mosquito bites that infected person, now the mosquito will again carry, when it is sucking the blood, then it will carry the pathogens inside it, and it will keep in the salivary gland. So again when it will bite another person, healthy person, then again it will release the pathogen. So this parasite in its life cycle completes in, it needs two hosts. This mosquito is also essential, and the animal, any warm blooded animal, it can be human being or any other animal. So two hosts are very much essential. Half of the life cycle is completed in the mosquito, and half of the life cycle is completed in the warm-blooded animals. It can be human being or any other animal. Okay. So, see, through mosquito bite they are entering liver, and they are getting into the RBC of blood. Now, some are there which, yes?
Which disease is caused by Plasmodium?
Plasmodium is the protozoa which is causing malaria. Okay. Causes malaria. Now, some are there which goes to some other place, and then, like Japanese encephalitis. Encephalitis. Japanese encephalitis, it is also called brain fever. Okay, there is another disease that is Japanese encephalitis, that is also called brain fever. This also enters through mosquito bite. Okay, through mosquito bite it will enter, and through blood where it will go? It will be carried to brain. Okay. Through mosquito bite it will enter the bloodstream, but where it will go? It will go to the brain. Now see, here it is entering through some other means, and then it is going to a specific place. So these pathogens, all the pathogens, they have a specific place where they will grow or they will cause the infection. Okay, specific place or specific organ. they target only a specific organ or tissue for their growth and reproduction. Okay. Other than this, now see another one which is different. HIV virus, which causes AIDS. How it is passed? Through sexual contact or sex organs, you can say, or you can say reproductive organs. Through the sexual organs it is transmitted. Through the sexual organs, where it goes? It goes to the lymph. It is entering through the sexual organs, it is harboring there, and it goes to the lymph. Lymph node you can write. Lymph node in the lymph node, or you can say throughout the body. Throughout the body it will spread. It is entering through the, as it is caused due to the virus, it is caused due to the sexual contact, and it enters through the sexual organs. But where it is going, it does not remain in the sexual organs, or it does not cause infection in the sexual organs. What it does, it goes to the lymph node. Lymph node are what? Like lymph, you know what is lymph? Lymph is the, fluid part of the blood in which RBC is not present. WBC is present, plasma is present, but it does not have the RBC. Actually, that lymph, that also form a system that is called the lymphatic system. Okay. So in the lymphatic system, this lymph flows, and in that you have the WBCs. These WBCs, what they do? They produce the antibodies. They produce the antibodies which fight against the pathogens. So here what happens? It enters to the sexual organs, but it does not harbor in the sexual organs. It goes to the lymph. Lymph node are the places where WBCs are formed. Okay. So lymph node throughout the body, because lymphatic system is present throughout, like you have the circulatory system, like that you have lymphatic system also. Okay, this lymph, it fills throughout the tissues. Okay, so fluid part of the blood which does not have the RBCs. WBC is present, plasma is also present. Okay, so this lymph, in the lymph node where it goes throughout the body, you have lymph node different places. So it is spread now throughout the body. And now, what is the effect of that? We'll discuss next. How? Yes, in our body only. In our body only, like you have circulatory system, no? Like that you have lymph vessels in which the lymph flows. Okay, lymphatic system you have. So these are the cases where it enters to a specific organ through different organs. It is entering sexual organs through the sexual organ, but it does not harbor it. It goes to the lymphatic system and it is spread throughout the body. Here it is getting into by mosquito bite, entering through blood, but where it is going? It is going to the brain and it is reproducing there. Okay, now when these pathogens, they enter the specific organ or they enter into a specific tissue, as they start reproducing, as they increase in number. So what they do? They show some sign and symptoms that already we have discussed. So symptoms shown by the different pathogens, it varies. So this pathogens, the place where it is going to harbor or where it is entering or where it is reproducing, that it is going to affect that organ. Okay, and the symptoms will be according to the infection caused at a particular place. For example, tuberculosis, TB, tuberculosis, this bacteria, what they do? Bacteria, they enter the lungs, and what symptoms they can cause? As they enter the lungs, they will affect they will affect the breathing system, though. So breathlessness. Breathlessness means person will not be able to breathe properly, and what will be? Coughing. Okay. So coughing will be there, or there will be breathlessness. Person will not be able to breathe properly. So now it is related to the breathing system because it is affecting the lungs. Okay. Then in case of typhoid or diarrhea, or typhoid, diarrhea or dysentery. In case of diarrhea or dysentery, what will happen? It is affecting the gut or intestine, or it can affect the stomach. So what it causes? It causes abdominal pain as it is affecting the stomach. Abdominal pain and loss of appetite. Loss of appetite means will not feel to eat. Loss of appetite. Appetite means hunger. Loss of appetite means will not feel to eat anything. Okay. So that when this typhoid, diarrhea or dysentery is there, then it will cause abdominal pain and loss of appetite. That person will not feel to eat. Sometimes when virus of causing jaundice, virus that causes jaundice, where it will go? Virus that causes jaundice, where it will go? It goes to liver. Okay. When it goes to liver, then the digestion. So the virus which causes jaundice, where it will go? It will go to the liver and affect the liver, and then what will happen? It will interrupt the digestion. Okay, digestion. Or you can say interrupt digestion. Digestion of fats, mainly fats. Okay, digestion of fats mainly, and it can also affect the digestion of other substances, mainly fats. Okay, for that only it is said now when you suffer from jaundice, you have to take a food without oil, oily food, that time you have to avoid totally. So in case of tuberculosis we have seen, in case of diarrhea, dysentery we have seen, and then when this brain fever takes place, when something is affecting the brain, then what will happen? Like brain fever which is affecting the brain, what will be the symptoms? In case when it is affecting the brain, the symptoms, what it will be? Headache. Okay. Headache. Whichever disease, not only brain fever, whichever disease affects the brain, then you can have headache, you can have fits. Person can become unconscious. Okay. It can cause headache, fits, unconsciousness, vomiting also, etc. Okay. So when any pathogen enters the brain or it harbors the brain or it affects, then what are the symptoms that it develops? You can have headache, you can have fits, you can have unconsciousness, you can have vomiting also. Okay. So when you look at the symptoms, what you come to know? Yes, this particular organ is affected. By looking at the symptoms, what do you understand? That this particular organ is affected. Then you have to see the signs. Signs are seen by the physician. Then they understand, yes, this is a disease, and then they give the medicine. Now, let us see about the AIDS disease. What are the effects they do? General effect. Here it is specific. In most of the diseases, the symptoms are specific. But in case of AIDS, what they cause? They have a general effect throughout the body. This virus, HIV virus, as it affects the HIV virus, affects the immune system. As a result, natural so HIV virus that affects the immune system, as it is affecting the lymphatic system or immune system, as a result the natural immunity of the body reduces. So already we have seen lymph, it is affecting the lymphatic system or lymphatic system. So the immunity power it reduces because antibodies which are produced by the WBC, it reduces. And now what is the effect? It affects throughout the body. As it is spread, this lymph is present throughout the body, so the immunity power of whole body reduces. So in case a person who is suffering from AIDS, if he gets a small common cold, okay, what is the effect of this? Simple common cold. Simple common cold which other person they get, no? Within few days they recover. But in case of a person who is suffering from AIDS, if they get the common cold, it can change into pneumonia. Common cold changes to pneumonia. Severe, it becomes serious. Okay. It becomes severe. This common cold, it becomes severe because of the, why it is becoming? Because the immunity power has reduced. Because the virus has affected the lymphatic system. It is not allowing the WBC to produce the antibodies. Okay, when less is produced, pathogens are entering, they are unable to fight. Then infection it will become. So common cold will change into pneumonia. The other case, if there is some infection in the stomach or simple diarrhea, will become severe, and what will happen? They will pass blood with stool. Other people, if they get this diarrhea, they may recover after some time by taking some medicine. But in case of a person who is suffering from AIDS, if he gets the diarrhea, then what will happen? It becomes very serious. This also becomes very severe. A small infection, only one thing you have to keep in mind, in this case, a small infection will become very severe. Okay, so along with the stool, they will pass the blood also. So now here the person will get the infection and the person may die due to this reason. May die due to pneumonia. Okay, or the person may die because of dehydration, which is caused, or loss of blood. Because when more and more blood is passed through the stool and there is more dehydration, then the person may even die due to this reason. So here the symptoms or the effect on the body is throughout the body. Okay, it affects throughout the body because of a particular pathogen. So this is about, and one thing, that our body system naturally produces. When there is some infection, our immune system, what they produce? Produces antibodies. To fight pathogens. Okay, when there is some infection, immune system produces antibodies to fight the pathogens or any kind of antigens. Okay, so now what will happen? Pathogens have entered. Here. Antigens are produced. Pathogen is antigen here. Antibodies are produced. Okay. Here, when this pathogen is affecting a cell or a tissue, it is affecting the cell or a tissue. Then what will happen? This pathogen will produce some chemical substances. Okay, when this pathogen is affecting a cell or a tissue, what they will do? They will release some chemical substances, and the cell which is affected, that will also, when it is affected, that will produce some. Let me write down. That will produce histamine. Okay, histamine is the substance that is produced when some cell is damaged by the pathogen. Naturally it is produced. Okay, this histamine is produced because antibodies are also there. So this histamine is produced when this histamine and this chemical substances which are produced by the pathogens, they are formed. As a result of that, what happens? Inflammation takes place. Okay, as a result of this, what happens? Inflammation will take place. What is inflammation? Inflammation, it is the swelling and pain. Whenever the pathogens enter our body, they are attacking the cells or the tissue, and when they are attacking, these pathogens are releasing chemical substances, and these cells or tissue, they are also releasing the histamine. As a result of these two substances, what happens? The inflammation takes place, and here the blood capillaries which are present here, they become permeable. Blood capillaries around here, it becomes permeable. Permeable means it can allow now substances to move out. So because of these two substances, chemical substances of pathogen and the histamine produced by the tissue or the cell, this capillaries, blood capillary, they become permeable, and they release fluid out. Okay, as it becomes permeable, it will release the plasma and the other fluids out. Along with that, WBC also will come out, which is producing the antibodies. Okay, so neutrophil, macrophage, these are the cells, different types of cells that you find in the WBC. What they do? They will come and attack this pathogens. They will kill the pathogens, and macrophages, they will swallow it. If pathogen has damaged some cell in our body, that will also be cleared by macrophages. Okay, and neutrophils, they will kill the pathogens, and macrophages, they will clear all the pathogens and the killed. If some cell or tissue is damaged by the pathogen, that one it will clear. So these are all different types of WBCs which become active. Whenever there is some infection, WBC, they become active. Main thing is that. Then what will happen? This blood capillaries, because of these two substances, it will become permeable, and it will release the fluid in the tissues and cell. when the fluid is released from the blood capillaries, what will happen? More fluid is there around the cell and the tissue, then what will happen? There will be a swelling. Okay, there will be a swelling because of the secretion from the blood capillaries, and this swelling can lead to pain also. And sometimes you can see, if you touch some infection is there, if there is some swelling, you can see you feel warm also. Why? Because more blood is flowing there. More amount of blood is flowing because more you need more WBCs are needed. So more, because it is becoming permeable, more amount of blood will flow there to fight against the infection. So that place you can find more fluid is accumulated. More fluid is present in that place, and then you can see there is a swelling, and you will have pain also because swelling is there. So there will be pain, and you can see sometimes it becomes reddish, and you feel warm also. You feel warm also because more and more blood supply is there. When more blood supply is there, then that place becomes warm. So this is inflammation. Inflammation is a swelling and pain that is caused as a result of the infection that is caused by the pathogen. As a result of the chemicals that are produced by the pathogen and the substances which are produced by the cell of the body on which these pathogens are affected. Okay, so due to that, this swelling and pain arises, and what happens gradually? This WBCs will also be released, and then they will kill the pathogens. And gradually, when the pathogens are finished, then gradually the swelling and the pain it will settle down. It will come to normal. Okay, so this is about the inflammation that is caused. And sometimes when there is some infection, it may also cause fever. Inflammation is there, swelling and pain, and sometimes general
Fever.
there is fever. Okay, generally you can find that fever is not a disease. Fever tells you that you have got some infection in our body. Okay, if there is some pain, you can understand, yes, there is some swelling, somewhere you can, yes, there is some infection in our body. In any particular part, if there is some infection, there can be swelling and pain. So that you can understand, yes, this part of this tissue is, or this part of our body is infected by some pathogen. Okay, this is about the general and the specific manifestation that is caused due to the pathogens. Okay.